Hello to all martial arts enthusiasts, and welcome to the channel. Before we begin this absolutely extraordinary story, take a second to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Today, I'm going to reveal a story that's been hidden for over 50 years. A story involving two titans of martial arts, a legendary friendship, and revelations that will completely change the way you see Bruce Lee. Imagine a man who once swam across a river to escape communist China, who became Hong Kong's bodybuilding champion for an entire decade, and who was Bruce Lee's best friend. That man is Beyond the Lookout Yeung, and for the first time since Bruce Lee's tragic death in 1973, he has finally decided to break his silence. What Bolo is about to reveal about Bruce Lee will shock you. Secret fights on movie sets, the hidden side of the little dragon, forbidden combat techniques, and even who would have won in a real fight between the two. But before diving into these explosive revelations, let me first tell you the incredible life story of Bolo Yeung, a man whose life could be a Hollywood action movie. By the way, tell me in the comments, have you ever heard of Bolo Yeung before? And most importantly, who do you think would win in a fight between Bruce Lee and Bolo? The answer will surprise you. Bolo Yeung's story begins on July 3, 1946, in Guangzhou, China, a time of total chaos. Imagine growing up in a country torn apart by communist revolution, where violence and uncertainty ruled every day. For young Yangza, that was his real name. Life was anything but glamorous. Unlike today's stars who grow up in comfort, Bolo knew poverty, political instability, and hardship. But it was precisely those struggles that forged the iron will that would one day make him famous around the world. At only 10 years old, while most children were playing with toys, Bolo discovered his true calling, the martial arts. But we're not talking about casual Saturday morning karate classes. In China at that time, martial arts weren't just a sport, they were a matter of survival. The kung fu masters who trained Bolo were living legends, men who had fought in real battles and bore the scars to prove it. Training was brutal, merciless, and uncompromising. If you enjoy stories of determination and self-mastery, make sure to like this video. It really helps the channel and shows YouTube that you're passionate about this kind of content. But Bolo didn't stop at traditional kung fu. He immersed himself body and soul into Tai Chi, the mysterious art that combines physical power with spiritual elevation. Contrary to what many think, Tai Chi isn't just slow movements for old people in the park. In its authentic form, it's a deadly martial art that develops incredible internal strength. Beyond the Lookout spent years mastering these ancient techniques, developing focus and discipline that would become his secret weapons throughout his life. Now this is where the story turns truly cinematic. In 1962, as communist China tightened its grip on its citizens, Bolo made a decision that would change his life forever. He would flee to Hong Kong. And how did he do it? Prepare yourself, because this is pure Hollywood. He swam across the Shenzhen River. Picture the scene, a young, muscular man swimming for hours in the dark, risking his life for freedom. Communist border guards patrolled those waters, shooting on sight at anyone who tried to escape. That nighttime crossing wasn't just an act of courage. It was a perfect metaphor for Bolo's entire life, overcoming the impossible through sheer physical and mental determination. When he finally reached Hong Kong, Bolo discovered a whole new world. Gone was repression, replaced by energy, freedom, and opportunity. Hong Kong in the 1960s was the shining light of Asia, a place where anyone with courage could succeed. And that's exactly what Bolo did. He discovered the world of bodybuilding, which was just beginning to explode in Hong Kong. But forget the high-tech gyms we have today. Bolo trained with improvised weights in Spartan conditions, forging that legendary physique that would make him an icon. If this story captivates you as much as it does me, don't forget to subscribe. There are so many more incredible legends I want to share with you. In 1969, Bolo achieved the impossible. He became Hong Kong's bodybuilding champion, and he held that title for 10 consecutive years. 10 years. Imagine the discipline, the daily grind, the sacrifices needed to dominate a competition for an entire decade. While others lived normal lives, Bolo sculpted his body the way an artist sculpts marble. His training routine was legendary. Up at 5 a.m. for weight training until 8, then martial arts until noon, followed by stretching and Tai Chi meditation in the afternoon, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. But what truly set Bolo apart was his philosophy. For him, Bodybuilding wasn't an end goal. It was a path toward perfect harmony between body and mind. Through Tai Chi, Bolo understood something few people ever realize. True strength doesn't just come from muscles. It comes from the alignment of physical power and mental serenity. That wisdom gave him his unique aura, calm, yet incredibly powerful. As Bolo perfected his art, Hong Kong underwent a cultural revolution of its own. The local film industry was booming. Shaw Brothers and Golden Harvest Studios were churning out martial arts movies, creating what would later be called the golden age of kung fu cinema. It was like Hollywood in the 1940s, but with one major difference. The demand for actors who could really fight was enormous. Producers didn't want actors pretending to be fighters. They wanted real martial artists. And that's when destiny intervened. Studio executives began hearing rumors of a mysterious bodybuilding champion who was also a martial arts master. But there was one big problem. Bolo barely spoke English, and even his Cantonese wasn't great. In an industry where communication is key, that was a huge handicap. But the producers knew talent when they saw it. At first, Bolo only got small roles, often without dialogue, but even in those few seconds on screen, he commanded attention. His presence was magnetic. His eyes, his physicality, his intensity, unforgettable. Directors soon realized Bolo was perfect for a certain kind of role, the powerful, silent villain. But Bolo wasn't a one-dimensional bad guy. He gave depth to his characters, a code of honor, a personal philosophy, a hint of tragedy. This complexity came directly from his Tai Chi background. The philosophy taught him that even in conflict, there can be nobility. Working with Shaw Brothers was like joining the University of Martial Arts Cinema. Bolo trained and performed alongside masters, stunt coordinators, and legendary fight choreographers. Every movie was a lesson: how to move for the camera, how to build tension through motion, how to make every strike tell a story. Movies like Deadly Duo and Heroic Guest built his reputation. But destiny was preparing him for a meeting that would change everything. While Bolo was conquering Hong Kong, another Chinese-born man was making waves across the Pacific, Bruce Lee. Born in San Francisco and raised in Hong Kong, Bruce was revolutionizing martial arts in America. Few people know he had already been a child star in Hong Kong, appearing in over 20 films before moving to the U.S. In 1971, Bruce decided to return to Hong Kong to make his own movies, and that's when their paths crossed. Their first meeting happened on the set of a Winston Cigarettes commercial. Who could have guessed that this random shoot would spark one of the most legendary friendships in martial arts cinema history? From their first conversation, Bruce and Bolo felt a deep connection. They shared the same passion for martial arts, the same drive for perfection, the same respect for Chinese tradition. And Bruce saw in Bolo not just a fighter, but a true warrior. Someone who didn't just act, he lived the martial code. That's when Bruce made him a life-changing offer. A year later, in 1972, Bruce Lee personally asked Bolo to join the cast of Enter the Dragon, the first ever Hollywood, Hong Kong co-production. Bruce had the power to choose his partners, and for the role of the fearsome henchman Bolo, he saw only one man fit for it: Yangza, soon to be known worldwide as Bolo Yeung. The filming of Enter the Dragon revealed Bruce Lee's true nature behind the camera, and this is where Bolo's later revelations become absolutely fascinating. After nearly 50 years of silence, Bolo Yeung finally agreed to give an in-depth interview about Bruce Lee. Why now? Why speak after all this time? In his own words, legends should be honored, but the truth must also be told. That interview, conducted in Mandarin and translated by Bruce Lee Central, revealed a side of Bruce that Hollywood had carefully hidden. Contrary to his public image as an invincible warrior, Bolo revealed that Bruce actually avoided real fights whenever possible. Bruce didn't want to fight, Be on the Lookout said. But sometimes he had no choice. That revelation stunned fans. The man who symbolized controlled aggression and fearless power was, in truth, a thinker who preferred peace. But one day on the Enter the Dragon set, a background actor decided to test Bruce Lee's real fighting skills. He thought Bruce was just an actor, all flash and no substance. Big mistake. According to Bolo, Bruce knocked him out cold in seconds with a single head kick. The fight was over almost before it began. Bolo, who was himself incredibly fast, admitted he was shocked by Bruce's speed. His speed was unreal, Bolo said. For context, Bruce Lee could throw 8 punches per second. Try clapping your hands 8 times in 1 second. Now imagine doing that with full control and deadly accuracy. His most famous move, the 1-inch punch, could send a 200-pound man flying backward, and Bolo witnessed it firsthand. If these revelations fascinate you, make sure to like this video. There's so much more to come. Bolo also revealed that Bruce's speed wasn't just talent, it was science. He trained with almost laboratory precision, recording data on his timing, reaction speed, and force output. He wasn't just an actor. He was a sports scientist decades ahead of his time. But maybe the most powerful revelation was about Bruce's mind. Bruce wasn't just a fighter, he was a philosopher. He often spoke about being like water. Fluid, adaptable, able to take any form while staying true to one's essence. This wasn't just poetry. It was the foundation of Jeet Kune Do, his personal martial philosophy, built on adaptation, freedom, and creativity. Then comes the question that fans have debated for 50 years. In a real fight, who would win, Bruce Lee or Bolo Yeung? Bruce, lightning fast, precise, unpredictable. Bolo, pure power, endurance, and raw strength. It's the eternal battle between technique and force. Bruce's advantages: speed, precision, adaptability, and the ability to strike from any angle. He'd likely use movement and exhaustion tactics to wear Bolo down. Bolo's advantages: sheer physical power, endurance, and toughness. A single clean hit could end the fight instantly. Who would win? Honestly, it might depend on the day, the place, or the circumstances. Even Bolo himself has never claimed he could beat Bruce. He said simply, Bruce was special. He had something others didn't. That humility, coming from such a powerful man, says everything about Bruce Lee's aura. On July 20th, 1973, the martial arts world was shattered. Bruce Lee, only 32 years old, died suddenly in Hong Kong. For Bolo, it wasn't just the loss of a colleague, it was the loss of a brother. There will never be another Bruce. I was honored to call him my friend. Those words summed up the grief and the truth. 50 years later, no one has ever matched Bruce Lee's legacy. Ironically, his death propelled Bolo to worldwide fame. Enter the Dragon became a global phenomenon, grossing over $400 million on a budget of $850,000. Bolo became an international star overnight. But fame came with pain. He was now in the spotlight, even as he mourned his closest friend. 15 years later, in 1988, Bolo finally found a project that allowed him to honor Bruce's legacy while cementing his own blood sport. As Chong Li, Bolo delivered one of the most memorable villain performances in martial arts history, terrifying and magnetic at once. The film, made for only $1.5 million, became a global hit, launching Jean-Claude Van Damme's career and solidifying Bolo as a legend. Once again, Bolo built real friendships with his co-stars, just as he had with Bruce Lee. He and Van Damme became close, later reuniting for Double Impact. Today, at over 75 years old, Bolo lives quietly, but his influence remains immense. Martial artists around the world still cite him as a major inspiration. Unlike many, Bolo never chased fame for its own sake. For him, martial arts were always a path of personal growth, not celebrity. That Tai Chi wisdom kept him authentic through decades in a superficial industry. The friendship between Bruce Lee and Bolo Yeung teaches us something deeply human. Despite their differences, East and West, speed and strength, philosophy and power, they found unity in passion and mutual respect. Their legacy shaped generations of fighters, actors, and thinkers. Bruce redefined martial philosophy with Jeet Kune Do. Bolo showed that tradition and spectacle could coexist. Today, MMA fighters unknowingly borrow from Bruce's Jeet Kune Do, and gym enthusiasts still emulate Bolo's legendary discipline. Their spirits live on. So, what lesson from their story will you take into your own life? The discipline of Bolo? The adaptability of Bruce? Or maybe their ability to build real friendship through respect? Before we end, 3 quick things. Like this video if you enjoyed it. It really helps me keep bringing you quality stories about martial arts legends. Subscribe and turn on notifications. I've got incredible stories coming. Jackie Chan's near-death experiences, Jet Li's hidden secrets, and more. And tell me in the comments, who do you think would win in a real fight, Bruce Lee or Bolo Yeung? And here's a little teaser. Did you know Jackie Chan nearly died 3 times on set? Or that Jet Li hides a secret about his true fighting abilities that will shock you? All that and more in the next videos. Until then, keep training, keep dreaming, And never forget the lessons of Bruce Lee and Bolo Yeung. Excellence comes from daily discipline and the constant will to surpass yourself. Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey. And until next time, may the strength and wisdom of Bruce Lee and Bolo Yeung guide you in your own battles. See you soon, warriors.